Hello, Heather Hoffman here. I have a couple of baby cards to share with you today. I often like to make 2 cards at the same time when I kind of have a design planned out, and baby cards are perfect for making, as I did here, a boy version and a girl version. Always handy to have one of each in your stash, and you never know when you might need a baby card or have a baby shower to go to. So I'm using a stamp set, an older stamp set from Unity called Hello Little One. It's one I haven't seen used a whole lot, and so I thought it would be a good one to pull out and give some love. It's got some cute silhouette solid images that are great for stamping a background like I'm doing on my card today. And I've picked 2 different colors of ink. You can use absolutely any colored ink that you want. I like to pick 2 colors that kind of contrast. In this case, I'm using Catherine Pooler inks. They're just new to me and I wanted to pull them out and use them. And the 2 colors I'm using on this one is called It's a Boy, appropriately, and Melon Ice is the greener color. So once I've kind of filled in my background a little with some of the cute little critters, I picked one of the little sentiment images, and I'm using that to kind of fill in some of the little holes in there to finish off my background. Now I'm going to switch, now that I finished this one, I'm going to switch my colors over, and I'm going to somewhat recreate the same thing. I'm just switching the colors to make it a girl version. For this one, my 2 colors are It's a Girl and Mint to Be. Those colors go great together on a girl card. And you notice as I stamp my images, I'm alternating back and forth between, I'm not stamping all of the elephants and then all of the giraffes. I'm just kind of building my background, and I'm trying to spin the image each time so that it gives a little more of a random feel. You could stamp them in a direct grid or in a straight line or anything else you wanted to do. I kind of just like the soft, fun, random effect that I went for on this card. And once again, once I fill in this background, I'm going to do the same thing with my sentiment and use that to fill in some of the little holes in there. Once I finish this, the next thing I chose to do, I used a metal die cut. It's from Simon Says Stamp called Wonky Stitched Rectangles. You don't have to die cut this. You could just trim the edges down. You can add a row of machine stitching if you have a sewing machine. You could rough up the edges with a distress tool to add a little texture on the end. It's just fun to do something to give it a little finished edge before adding it onto your card base. And then I picked a soft gray card base to put them onto. There's that die that I used to stitch the edges. And I matted them down on there. So you notice the die cut them a little bit smaller. This just allows that soft gray to peek out and kind of frame the front of the card. And once those are stuck on, I grabbed a sentiment. I love mixing and matching stamp sets and pulling a sentiment from a different set. So for this, I used a newer stamp set called Finally Here. And I'm going to heat emboss this sentiment in white on a deeper gray. It's a great way to pull out the contrast from the light gray that I used for my card base. So I'm stamping it with embossing ink. I used a powder tool first to keep the embossing powder from sticking to anything I don't want on there. And I decided to stamp them both at the same time and just heat emboss them both at the same time and then trim them out. So once I have my white embossing powder on there, I'll heat set those and I'll pull my paper trimmer out. And at that point I can trim them down into nice even strips. You could use a die cut or something else to trim them into a banner shape or whatever else you want on here too. I just wanted to make it simple. And a paper trimmer is a great way to get nice straight lines. Instead of trying to, I couldn't cut this with scissors if my life depended on it, so I rely on my paper trimmer a lot. Alright, final finishing touch, I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of these. I was trying to decide, I followed the rule, it's called the rule of thirds for where to place this. It's kind of just a design element that helps make it pleasing to the eye. And I picked to put it on the top third dividing line, and I used some foam tape for just a tiny bit of dimension and line those up and put those on there. And you have 2 super cute little baby cards next time you need a gift. Thanks for coming by. Hope you have a great day.